Defunding the police was a terrible term, a terrible choice of words to use for the kind of reform that we need. Similar to Medicare for All was a terrible name for the kind of healthcare reform that we need. The way we need to defund the police is we need to demilitarize the police. We need to take away their military funding. There is no reason for a station to have grenade launchers and tanks. This isn't a war zone. This is America. We're citizens. They're dealing with their fellow community members. When it comes to reforming our police, some of the things we really have to look into is number one, when a law enforcement officer is reprimanded and disciplined or fired from their job, they should not be allowed to go to another precinct in another district. That is not the way. We don't want to flick boogers, is what my boss likes to call it. um, we need to make sure that we're holding police officers accountable, especially when it comes to the death of an unarmed citizen. We have to make sure that when internal investigations come in and the police are investigating their own, that we have a community review panel to go over that investigation and to determine whether or not the situation was handled properly. We have to make sure that police officers are receiving annual de-escalation training. The whole point of a police officer, two things: de-escalate a situation and use the minimum force necessary, not rocket science. If you can't do those two things, you should not be a law enforcement officer. You should go look for a different job. We have to make sure that every single year, our police officers are going through that de-escalation training, and that we have the type of people in there that are willing to go and listen to what's going on, assess a situation, and not come in guns blazing. On top of that, we have to have higher educational requirements for law enforcement officers. If you can't get an associate's, you probably shouldn't be a police officer. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I managed to get my associate's magna cum laude, and if I can do that, then you can go to school and get a law degree, or not a law degree, but an associate's in criminology or some kind of law enforcement based scenario. We need to make sure our law enforcement officers are trained in sociology, psychology, and they have to, most importantly, understand the law that they're supposed to be upholding. How can you expect someone to uphold the law when they don't even know it? And that is a problem that we are facing all around the country. And, people are going to be like, well, why are we raising their educational requirements? Why would we want to be a law enforcement officer if you're going to make me get a degree? Well, number one, you should make more money. We do have to raise police officer salaries. The average police officer salary in Arkansas is $36,000. It takes a very special person to get up in the morning and kiss their kid goodbye and not know if they're going to be able to come home that night. And if we want the right people doing this position, there are good cops out there, but there are bad cops out there. And if we need the right people doing this, we have to pay them a salary that reflects upon the education that they require, the intelligence that they require, and the risks that they are putting forward in order to keep us safe in our community.